Hello and thank you for joining us. I have here today David Pattison from David Pattison's Accused Friends. Hi David, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
In today's interview, I'd like to talk more about the new mobile phone regulation related to criminal injustice. Now, what is this new regulation?
This is a new ruling that's come in to say when there's a sort of a sexual accusation, the accused's mobile phone data is pretty much fair game, so that gets turned over to the police. But the accuser's mobile phone data, that needs to be sort of kept secret and sacrosanct. And because they had all these cases last year where mobile phone data from the accuser was coming into cases at the last minute, and it was showing that, you know, the rape accusation was just made up, and the woman saying, I just made this up to get back at my ex-boyfriend, and all this sort of stuff. And these cases were thrown out after there'd been a lot of expense made to investigate the case and to prepare the case and all this sort of stuff. So this ruling's come in to say, okay, well, the female accuser's mobile phone data, that needs to be fair game as well. And that's what the ruling says, yeah.
In which way it can be helpful or unhelpful?
Now, people will probably say to me, I would be in favour of this ruling. I'm actually a sort of a privacy advocate. I'm not in favour of people's personal privacy just being handed over to the government and to the police without, a warrant or without, reasonable expectation that it's going to yield some sort of useful information that's in the public interest. But I think going back to your question, the reason this has come up is because there's so much need for the man's mobile phone data to come up. And you look at the Hepburn case that I was covering recently, the whole case against him was because of the WhatsApp, the text messages, the stat chat game about seducing women, and that was basically the case against him, that he was a predatory guy and that all these text messages that he was sending to his friends about his womanizing success proved it. But of course, the woman's text messages and her mobile phone history is never sort of put into the case. And so there's been this ruling now that's going to happen. Subsequent to the announcement, there's been another announcement from CPS that they're trying to sort of backtrack on this because there's been so much uproar from feminists to say, the woman's been a victim of a rape or a sexual assault. Now the last thing she wants is to have all her mobile phone information, private correspondence with her friends or relatives exposed in a public way, in a potentially humiliating way. Yeah.
Would you say that there is a reason for feminist groups to be unhappy about this new regulation?
They definitely don't approve, and that public pressure is what's forcing this sort of pullback from CPS to say, actually, no, we want to have the man's mobile phone information, but the woman's mobile phone information, we want to try and not take that. Now, as far as the citizen's prosecution goes, I'm actually in the position of accusing in this case, and so Alison Saunders' mobile phone data, we're going to need all of that. Who she was talking to within CPS, all the people she was texting about, maliciously prosecute that guy or maliciously prosecute that guy. Now I'm in the position of being the accuser, which is rare because I'm a male. I've got my mobile phone here. If any of the police want to go through it to look at it, I have no problem with that in my case. Because I have nothing to hide. But for women that are making false accusations, there may well be information on their phone to show that. And, that's why I think it's relevant. I mean, we've got to treat men and women equally in an equal justice system. So you can't have one rule for one, but not one rule for the other. So my point, I suppose, is on fairness and equality. If we're going to have the man's mobile phone information, we need to have the woman's mobile phone information. We either have both or we have neither,
Would you say that this new mobile phone regulation decreases the chances of women actually going forward
well,
with
that's what
rape
CPS want to
allegations.
prevent. They want to prevent that, yeah. So they want to have women coming forward to make complaints of assault because it's money for them. That's how they make their money. You know, if women aren't coming forward, they're not making any money. And when this mobile phone ruling was announced, I was listening to the radio, it was in my car, and all the feminist lawyers were coming on the radio complaining about this law, saying it was invading the privacy of the female. And I think that's a justifiable point. But they never made any point about the invasion of privacy of men that are falsely accused. They have to give up their mobile phone. They haven't committed any crime. There should be a presumption of innocent until proven guilty, even though there isn't. So if someone that's either hasn't committed a crime or is innocent until proven guilty, if they have to give up their phone, you know, why does someone who has, is making the accusation not? I think mobile phone information, if it's a lot of these sexual assault cases are people nowadays that know each other. It's not like a girl I was walking home from school and someone jumped out of a bush and threw me in a van. It's like we were dating for 10 years and then, you know, in year 11, when he wouldn't marry me, I decided he'd raped me, you know, back in year 6. And, we need all the mobile phone data.
Right, so there is a certain intimacy going on.
There's a certain intimacy.
More familiar.
More familiar, yeah.
Right.
And so it's sexual assault on technicalities rather than, you know, I don't know this person, they could be a stranger. So this mobile phone information is relevant because it's trying to gauge how well do these people know each other. They're texting back and forth. The guy thinks this is my girlfriend. The woman thinks, you know, I didn't lead this guy on in any way. So it's interpreting the communications, but it shouldn't be anything like that. It should just be like, what's the evidence at the crime scene? What do the witnesses say? But of course, if the man and the woman are in the bedroom privately, all the lights are out, there's no witnesses, there's no CCTV, there's no anything. So the mobile phone is kind of like almost all the evidence that's needed, because if you've got evidence on the phone, it's a case. If there's no evidence at the crime scene, it's a dark room, it's he said, she said, there's no evidence, you can't pursue a case like that. But if you've got the mobile phone data, then it's like, oh, well, he's sent this aggressive text message, or oh, he's sleeping with multiple women in a short time period, he must be predator, you know. So it's relevant for the guy, it helps the case if it's the guy, but it's from the woman's point of view, it neither helps or hinders the case unless it's a deliberate false accusation and there's evidence. But of course, it's an invasion of privacy for the woman.
All right, yeah. So let's take out let's put aside the fact that women can be the ones who are accusing or the accused ones. Let's take this out of the context.
Well, let me just say on that point, hold on a sec. Men can be false accusers as well.
Right.
But there's no money in it from the legal perspective, because no judge is going to, you know, throw the book at a woman and send her to jail for 20 years, you know, on some tenuous rape allegation against the man. They'll just tell the guy, look, just toughen up, get back to your life. Okay, but if it's a woman, you got the big victim impact statement, you got all the feminist hysteria in the press, then it's a big court case. It's a money-making opportunity, you see. Yeah, well, that's the difference.
Yeah, this is a nuance, a perspective that we talked about. Now, I just want to understand your opinion about this new mobile phone regulation. How relevant is the sexual history of the accuser in this case?
Let me just clarify my position. My position is I'm anti-invasions of privacy by the government. I don't want women's mobile phones being tampered with. But of course, if men's mobile phones are being used as evidence, we have to have women's phones used as evidence because we have an equal justice system. You've got to have, men have got the right to defend themselves. And if they say, I think on that woman's phone there's evidence that's going to exonerate me, they're going to want to have that information. Now, in my case, I wanted the girl's mobile phone data because I wanted to know, because she'd made this accusation against me such a long period of time after we'd met. And so I'd assumed she was communicating with her friend. Should I call the police? Should I not call the police? You know, am I injured? Am I not injured? Was she calling a doctor every 5 minutes? Had she sought medical attention? We weren't able to get the phone, so we didn't know. But, you know, I think it is relevant to the cases. Yeah, from the defense point of view.
What about, let's say someone is being accused of rape? How relevant is the history?
Well, it's not relevant if they don't know each
phone
other. If they don't know each other, it's not relevant, is it? I mean, if a girl's walking home through the central London at night, some guy jumps out of a van, throws her in the van, rapes her, dumps her back on the street. They've never met, they've never had any contact. There's nothing on the mobile phone that's relevant because they don't know each other. Whereas if they've been dating for 10 years and then, you know, years 1 to 7, things were bliss. And then all of a sudden, years 7 to 10, it was hell. And like one party wanted to leave and the other party wanted to stay and all this relationship conflicts. And then the woman says, oh, well, by the way, he raped me. So then maybe I can get custody of the kids, or maybe I can get this guy out of the house, or whatever it is. Then it's totally relevant because it's kind of a relationship event rather than rape in a kind of, some guys just grabbed a woman and they don't know each other. That's what a lot of these things are nowadays, because men and women are sort of in touch with each other through text messages. They have these sort of digital relationships. They might not have a physical one-on-one relationship. They might have just met once in a bar or something like that, but they have this ongoing communication. And then this is where, you know, harassment and intimidation and just sort of non-crime, well, maybe actual crimes, but the man and the woman are not in physical contact like they would have been in pre-digital era, where you actually had to physically, you know, be in touch with someone to communicate with them.
Great, thank you, David. Always a pleasure to hear from you. Thank you for being with us, and don't forget to subscribe and comment down below what's your thoughts, what's your opinion, and yeah, we want to hear from you. Thank you.